Okay, just before we get in and start playing around with a kind of a little practice piping setup, we want to. You'll notice that we keep going from the 3D plumbing view to our floor plan view, which is, level 2 plumbing over here. So we find these two views, at least I find these two views are that we'll be using extensively are so far apart, in the browser. Literally, one is, buried somewhere in here, and the other one is in here, and it's a bit of a pain going back and forth. You can go up here and you can go to open views, and you can click on here open projects. You can also go to the view tab and say switch windows, and you can pick windows off of there. But it's nice to have them grouped. This is just a little tip on, I'm using this view and I'm using level 2 plumbing plan. Okay, so what I'm going to do is actually reorganize my browser, and I'm going to make up some new classifications. Watch, I'm going to click on here, and I'm going to change this view classification to be something different. Okay, so I'm going to change this view classification to be classification CAD clips, because you can do it. So I click out. Doesn't do anything because it's not organizing by classification right now. Now I'm going to go to my 3D view here, and I'm actually, this one I'm going to change the classification to CAD clips. It's already in there. I've been practicing a little bit, but look away for a second and let's assume that that wasn't in there. I could pick it on a pick list if I've already typed it, but I want to type in and put in the word CAD clips for this view. The only difference is my level 2 plumbing plan, I want to put that back to be design, and I want to duplicate it because I'm just going to make a copy of that instead. I'm going to right click and say duplicate that plumbing plan with detailing, sure, which takes the text and the dimensions and all that, and it's going to create one called copy of level 2 plumbing plan, and there it is up there. So you have to be careful where it reorganizes these. So I'm going to right click on here and I'm going to rename this, and I'm just going to call it, CAD clips plumbing plan, just as a name. So I've duplicated my level 2 plumbing plan, and that view I'm going to change to have the classification of CAD clips, just to give it a unique identifier, and then click out. Okay. So now I'm going to reorganize my browser over here. On the View tab, I'm going to go over to User Interface. MEP people have to get really good at organizing this project browser. Browser Organization, I'm going to say New Browser Organization, and I'm going to call it Classification slash Type. So it's going to sort by classification and then by type. So here we go, folders. It's going to group by view classification, and then by view type, and then sort by view name. And hit OK and make it current. Hit apply. Hit OK. And now I have a new CAD clips group here. Now I've got that in there. What happened? Did I undo something? Let's go back to my 3D views. 3D view plumbing plan. Where did that go under here? 3D view plumbing. Double click on it. Yeah, that's my file. Let's change that to be view classification. I got rid of it. I'll put it back in there. CAD clips, or type it in. Click out. It's going to reorganize itself inside of here. Okay. Now maybe I don't even want to, maybe I'll just put them together. Maybe I don't need to split them up into type even. So let's go back to User Interface, Browser Organization, edit that and say, you know what, I don't even need to go by type, just by view classification. And that way what's going to happen while I'm working on this little exercise, these guys are going to be grouped there. So I can close this off and I can close this off, and basically as I go in here I can work on these two different views, and then I can say close hidden if I wanted to, and go to here and open this one and then say tile my views, clicking on here. And what was this one showing me? Yeah, I probably want to turn on my crop region here. Clip this guy down. I don't really have to. I could take this, bring this down because I've duplicated that view. Zoom out a bit. Pull this guy down. There we go. ZF, zoom fit. And then I can turn off the visibility of that. And now if I wanted to, I could tile my views. Oh, I've got a project open. I can close that guy off and go back and retile my views. And then I can, work in this environment over here. So now I've got my two views nice and tiled, and I've also got them grouped under the new classification CAD clips. Once I go through this and I don't need this anymore, I can, reclassify the views and resort my project browser. So now we want to start to draw some pipes in here, and we're going to use a PVC 4-inch kind of sanitary pipe. And we'll start by just drawing flat or non-sloping and vertical piping, just to kind of get the feel for it. So I'm going to pick inside of here and zoom in a little bit. And I'm going to start off by going to my Systems tab, and I've turned on my plumbing and piping. So I'm going to pick on here. You start your piping tool. You want to check all your properties in here before you pick a point. So after you start your piping or pipe placeholder. Pipe placeholder works very much the same. It shows up as single line, and then after you've decided on the system requirements and the pipe sizes and stuff, then you can convert the placeholders to actual pipes. So as I start to draw the pipe, you'll see my cursor changes, and we want to pay close attention to our options bar up here, which says the diameter of the pipe unless you specify otherwise. You can inherit the pipe size off of a connector if you use your tools over here. So it'll naturally, if you want to, will show you how to inherit the height, elevation, and pipe size off of the connector on our fixtures over here. So we want to pay close attention to here. This offset is based on the level. Okay, the vertical justification is set to be middle, so you can change that to be top or bottom or middle. Horizontal is center. You can change that to be left or right. Okay, so have a look at some of these properties. The offset, this number will match this number, and it remembers your different offsets, so you can always pick on here if you want to repeat an offset. So that comes in really handy. If you click on here, it'll lock it to a specific elevation, so it won't, if you go near other objects, this is how you stop it from attaching to a piece of pipe that might be sitting right close to it. By default, when you get near another piece of pipe, it tries to attach to it. This will make sure that it will only attach if it's at the same elevation. Okay, so locking it stops at the apply button we use when we want to draw just a piece of vertical pipe in a plan view. And then we have some tagging options in here. If you place tags, you can have tags and stuff on the pipes as they go. So we're going to be using this stuff in here. This is instance properties. It's important that you specify your system type inside of here, and you can create a new system. Pipe segment, and we want to pick what we want off of there. Okay, the diameter of the pipe, certain information is already plugged in there. Okay, some additional flow information. Okay, the other thing that's important is when you click on here, the edit type. These are instance properties. Okay, if you go edit type, you're going to see inside of here, and there's some routing or preferences. So routing preferences, if you pick edit on here, you should go in here, and this is specific to this PVC sanitary piping. I'll just hit cancel on here. If you change this to be standard and then you go in here, it's going to have different criteria. Okay, so I'm just going to hit exit. So we want to do PVC routing preferences. So look what it says: plastic schedule 40, minimum size, maximum size. Okay, elbows, this is the family that we're going to use. You can say load family, and you can go get more families. Minimum size, you can pick on here. Okay, and you can specify that information. Preferred junction type is a T. Okay, you can specify whether it's a T or a tap. And then junction, this is a family. This is a .rfa family. So this will be an accessory or a pipe fitting. Okay, cross doesn't seem to be specified. I'm not sure why. Okay, M cross generic standard. We might plug that in. Transitions, this is a Revit family, M reducer, PVC schedule 40. Okay, so these, you'll find these families listed down here in families. I keep clicking on there. You can hear the beep. Union conditions, okay, using this coupling right in here, and again, this is just a family flange, unspecified. Okay, segments and sizes, you can pick on here, and it's going to give us information. We saw this in a previous video. Okay, this is right out of the piping settings. If you go into the system piping and hit the piping settings, mechanical settings, this is what we already saw earlier. Again, you can click on here and specify what system type you want, and then set the properties for that in there. So that's all being saved inside of here, the sanitary type, all inside of this routing. Okay, this information is also shown. Okay, if you hit OK on here, and OK on here, and OK on here, under system, under plumbing and piping, if you pick on here in the little settings, this is that very same information. So if you change it here, it changes there. The only difference is this one was preset to be the sanitary one as far as this stuff goes. Okay, so it was showing us this sanitary information. So just a little bit of that. So as I'm drawing this pipe, it seems like a lot to grasp at first, but mainly you want to make sure you have the right sanitary type pipe, and this is already should be preset. You shouldn't have to set any of this as you draw. You want to make sure it's referencing the right level. You can change the level if you want. It'll read whatever levels are in Revit. The offset is going to be the pick point, the Z point, and it's going to be vertically justified by the middle as you drag along, and horizontally by the center of the pipe. This would be the time to change the system type if you wanted to, or the pipe segment if you want. So having said all of that, let's just say we're going to draw, I'm going to use an offset of 0. Changes this. So right on level 2. So I'm going to go, okay, here we go. Click and click and click and click. So just drawing flat pipes. I should point out that I have this checked off. This is important. No sloping. Okay, notice how that's kind of turned blue. I should have pointed that out. We do want to have a look at this, whether we want it to slope up, slope down, and if you set a slope, then you have to set your percentage on here. So some sloping information here. In the meantime, I did have this set to be slope off. If yours was set to be sloping, then hit escape. Let's pretend mine was. I'm going to hit escape, escape. And then what you do is you hover over, escape one more time, hover over this piece of pipe, and then tab to grab the segment, pick on it, and then delete. We'll try it again. Okay, pipe. It's going to remember our last elevation in case it didn't. Picking all of our stuff, checking our levels, making sure this is set to be 0, or no slope, and off we go. Pick. It's going to add in those elbows for us and everything. Yeah, and I'm just going to hit escape. So there we have, let's say that's going to be kind of, the drain or whatever. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to have something, come out up here, drop down, and then kind of tie into there. So we'll have a kind of a zigzag coming down, and we'll